Welcome back to Doug's Watches, the Thinking Watch channel. Today, I'm going to be doing a little less thinking than usual. We're going to have a quick recap of Watches and Wonders 2025, and I'm going to give you my 5 least favourite and 5 favourite watches from this year. If you want to skip through to my picks, the chapters are below. And of course, comment section, make sure to tell me just how wrong I am. Let's get into it. So I think it's fair to say, leading into Watches and Wonders, Rolex were in the clear lead in terms of publicity. The leaks raised hype, the renders solidified it, and Roger Federer's accidental, in quotation marks, as I'd be willing to bet it was intended, photo leak confirmed the launch of the Land Dweller. Rolex did something a little different, launching the watch the night before with a Teddy Baldassar video. 1, a marker of how powerful he is in the watch world, but 2, a sign that Rolex is looking to do something different with their marketing and reach out to new and emerging buyer bases. I've already spoken at length about the Land Dweller, do go check that video out when you're done with this one. Now then, I think Rolex went first and got the hype, as it were, so Tudor's releases could get time to shine on day one. And Tudor have made some bold moves that I'll be touching on later. But for the brand, it largely feels like they're adding in more variations into the range. A white dial here, a 43mm watch there, a Jubilee style bracelet on this. As we know though, in the Morgan Stanley Watch Report, the brand is losing ground, so perhaps we'll see something radical over the next few years. But in design terms, well, it really does seem to be the year of the jumping hour watch. Bremont launched 2 Terra Nova jumping hour watches, Cartier have brought back the Guichet, apologies my French is awful, and of course Maine and Nico Leonard launched their collaboration last week. We're also seeing more women's pieces come through. Now I think that's not the most interesting to my 97% male audience, but Rolex are pushing that red dial Datejust, Hermes the Cutler Temps Suspendu, and Cartier those little ring things, which I adore, and Langhe a 34mm 1815. Anecdotally, I think pieces like this get a little bit more coverage than they did before and in previous years, or at least I'm just more attuned to them. But if they are getting more coverage, I'm all for this. Everyone deserves to have the right watch for them. It's a great feeling when you find it. Obviously, there's even more to go through, and I could go on for hours, but there's one last big thing I think is worth mentioning. Vacheron Constantin put out this thing, the new world's most complicated watch, and I'll just put its name on the screen, as I'm not even going to try to bother butchering its name. This is my first Watches and Wonders as a creator, and it's been quite fun to see the hype and contribute my 2 cents at points. So, let's weigh in with my 5 least favourite releases, in no particular order. I'm going to have to start with Tudor. Huge caveat, I love the brand, I love my Black Bay GMT, and they're in my best watch list as well, but the Black Bay 68 feels like a betrayal of what Tudor's about, to me at least. Smaller size, discreet watches with a vintage twist. This 43mm beast just isn't that, and we need to ask the question, who didn't buy a Tudor because there wasn't a 43mm option? Next, the first of 2 Tag Heuers, the F1 reissue, in Solograph, which is relatively cool, and makes an expensive quartz watch a little bit more justifiable, so it's better than last year's Kith collaboration. I get that Tag Heuer need to not devalue their brand, but I feel like the price on this is wrong. I've seen $2,000, which feels a bit steep to say the least. While it's fine for these to cost more than a Moonswatch, I think there's a real opening for a Swiss brand to make a cool, fun, durable piece in the region of $1,000, and I think this really misses out on that chance. But now also this from Tag. Right, I like the Monaco, perhaps not all the skeleton models, not really my old man chic. I like the idea they've run with here of the curb colouring on a track, but personally I'd have gone with red as the priority, then white. This will surely get very dirty very quickly. I know this is a tie-in with their new position as title F1 sponsor, but the script on the subdials, lights out and away we go. It's a little Fisher Price, my first toy watch, to my eyes at least. So I'm cheating now, and the Zenith Blue editions, all 3 of them. Pilot Big Date, Chronomaster and Defy. I'm not sure what's going on over at Zenith, and I'm not the first to say this, but these special editions and derivatives all seem to be getting a little bit too much like Hublot for me. But then, maybe that's the buyer they're gunning for now. Now then, my last least favourite. It's from Rolex. I'm normally a dress watch enjoyer, but the 1908 just isn't for me, and I think a lot of people agree that you don't go to Rolex for a dress watch. With how Rolex have trickled out the original, the platinum, and now this bracelet model, it seems like Rolex are saying the gold didn't do great, nor did the platinum. Maybe people want a bracelet. Let's find out. Maybe they will, but to me, how this replacement to the Cellini has been launched just doesn't seem that great for the greatest brand in Swiss watchmaking. So before we move on to my 5 best, I've got 2 honourable mentions. The Tudor Pelagos Ultra, not anything anyone probably asked for, but we love to see it. And the Nomos Glashütte Club Sport Neomatic World Timer, a mouthful to say, but a wonderful asymmetric dial that needs to be applauded. So then, moving on to my favourites. The 58 Burgundy feels like a release that Tudor ought to do after launching the 41mm Black Bay in Burgundy to some success last year. The full colour dial though is the icing on the cake for me and makes it more than just a box ticking exercise. I think we need more bold and garish mainstream luxury watches that are still classy. For lovers of red, like myself, this is great. Vintage proportions but a modern luxury look. Sticking on the mainstream luxury watch with a colourful dial theme, I have to include the new big crown pointed dates as well. The terracotta, light blue, yellow, navy and pistachio green are brilliant, and I can see that green dial in my watch box not too long from now. The big crown pointed date is a particular favourite of mine. A really detailed but not cluttered dial and a date complication that keeps the watch symmetrical. What is not to love? But get this, the Caliber 403 has a 120-hour power reserve. I doubt you need that, but it is still pretty cool. Now, moving on out of my price point, as this watch is limited to 100 pieces and price is only available on request, the Langhe and Sohne Odysseus in honey gold. It seems like quite something. I love beige, brown and cream. I basically should be in the 70s, and do please note the way this watch blends brushed and polished elements, a high quality finish, which of course you should expect from Langhe, and for the price, the last honey gold model was over $600,000. If you've been around the channel long enough, you'll know I like a GMT or world timer. This Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Tribute Geographic is great. Mildly impractical mind, but a brilliant way to embrace the design of the Reverso by putting the world timer on the back of the case. Regular Reverso business in the front and mastery of time and space in the back. It's potentially hard to read, but I would love to have how this movement works and got packaged into a Reverso explained to me at length. Truly impressive watchmaking that I think is really up to the standard JLC set for themselves over the centuries as the watchmaker's watchmaker. Last but not least, a GMT, the Doxa Sub 250T GMT. Doxa put this out the day ahead of Watches and Wonders, hoping to not get overshadowed as they often do, and well they did, thanks very much Rolex. But Doxa have been without a GMT in their lineup, and I think this launch highlights just how Doxa stick to their guns and know their brand. Many brands in this space will feel compelled to have a watch for everything, even if it doesn't fit in their catalogue, so like Glashütte Original CQ or the original Classic Fusion amongst Hublot's new Dross. But this is an undeniably Doxa GMT watch, not a ripped-off GMT Master 2, and we need to encourage that sort of watchmaking. What watches have you enjoyed from Watches and Wonders this year? What haven't you liked? Let me know it all below. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more of my work, do subscribe and like the video. It helps me out more than you know. Thanks to my channel supporters, including Dr. Kevin Moore. If you want to get a shout out like that, do hit the join button below. I will see you all next time.